Am I the asshole for going out when my husband said it was okay beforehand? My husband, 29 male, and I, 24 female, have been married for almost a year. Our anniversary is in 2 days. Our living situation isn't exactly ideal since we're waiting on my husband's visa so we can leave to Germany. But with Corona it took forever. Basically every other Friday we go to have lunch at my husband's dad's place along with other family members of his, and I try to always go with him since he hates going alone. Even though I go with him almost every time, he never comes with me to visit my mom, and in the past year he has been with me literally once to my mom's, which was last week. After I had told him how upset I am that he never comes, well, today we were supposed to go to his dad's since it's Friday, but my childhood friend who had been visiting the country is leaving tomorrow, and we had arranged to go to the pool today with a couple of other friends to say goodbye. People my husband is also friends with BTW. It was kind of a last-minute thing. So when he called me to ask if I'd come, I told him I was sorry but I had to go with my husband to his dad's and that maybe we could go out in the evening. My husband heard me saying that and told me that he didn't really feel like seeing this friend at all and that he wasn't interested in saying goodbye to him, and that if I wanted to I should go with them to the pool by myself to say goodbye then. I asked my husband over 10 times if he was sure he didn't have any problems with me going, to the point where he got annoyed. I asked him so many times since he always gets upset when I don't go with him to see his dad. So I called my friend back and said that I would be joining them in the pool. Immediately I can sense my husband's attitude changed a bit, although I didn't think much of it. I ended up going for only 2 hours and got my period at the pool. I called my husband on my way back and he was very cold, and I asked him when he was getting back and he said he's gonna be meeting some friends and doesn't know when he'll be back. I could tell something was wrong, so as soon as I got home I texted him again and asked him what was up. After a long talk he basically told me that he was really upset that I didn't go with him, especially since I know his dad is a bit sick. He has some problems with his eyes, and that he shouldn't have to tell me what to do. I should have known on my own that he would have been upset if I had taken his feelings into consideration. Now he's upset and won't talk to me at all, and I feel like shit. But I also feel like this could have been avoided if he would have been straightforward with me from the beginning. So am I the asshole here? I already said I was sorry so many times, but he said he doesn't want to accept my apology. Update. I tried to defend his actions in the comments using his own words so that he sees how people react to it. He woke up today and apologized so many times and said his dad really pissed him off, which made him act out. I showed him this post and he agreed with everyone and said he would work on communicating his feelings better rather than just expecting me to know on my own. I guess people can't really tell from the post, but my husband has had a lot of issues with family and anxiety, which is why he's such a poor communicator, but he's gonna work on that with me now, hopefully. Thanks to everyone for taking the time to answer, I really appreciate it. Also, I feel like I do have to mention that him and his dad have a really difficult relationship. He really hates his dad for his past behavior. And when we got together I pushed him to reach out to his dad and try and better the relationship before we move, which is why I try to be very supportive on this specific topic and why he hates going by himself since his dad gives him so much anxiety. Honestly, his dad gives me anxiety sometimes too, which is why I totally understand him needing me there with him. Not the asshole on any level, and I hope you realize soon that you're being unfairly used by him, before he isolates you further. Not the asshole you go with him all the time. He said it would be fine. He never visits your family with you unless you basically beg him. You shouldn't have to ask your husband if it's okay to say goodbye to your friend. He sounds kind of controlling, and you did nothing wrong. Not the asshole your husband is being manipulative and controlling. I'm sure he's upset over his dad. But that does not excuse his atrocious behavior towards you, your mom, and your friend. Definitely not the asshole. Your husband is a grown man and needs to learn how to communicate better. It's not the end of the world that you missed one visit with him. Also, they're his parents. He shouldn't need you to make him more comfortable to visit his own parents. If the relationship is strained, I can understand wanting someone with him. You have every right to go visit your friend to say goodbye, and the fact that your husband has made such a big deal about this is really strange to me. Your husband is being controlling and manipulative. And you're putting up with it if you are tiptoeing around his feelings so much that you feel the need to ask him 10 times for permission to do something. And then he mopes, upset that you didn't take his feelings into consideration. This dynamic sounds exhausting. Stop apologizing. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You're not a mind reader. That's why you asked. You have to be able to count on him to be candid with you, and instead he's punishing you for taking him at his word. That way madness lies. Not the asshole. He gave his permission and you gave him plenty of opportunities to refuse. He can't change his mind after the fact and suddenly decide that you upset him. If he wants to be a drama queen and stew in sadness over his own decisions, feel free to let him. Relieve yourself of bearing the burden of his guilt. Go do something that makes yourself happy. Have a self-care evening while he mopes. And be honest with yourself about him, because based on your story I think he might do this sort of thing somewhat often. I'm seeing things in here that could be red flags. Like the fact that you felt the need to clarify this with him, as you put it, over 10 times. Just be careful going forward if things like this are common in your relationship. He sounds kind of controlling, which isn't healthy. Not the asshole. I feel like your husband is upset with his father's illness and is taking it out on you. You always go with him to visit. There's nothing wrong with you missing it once to see your friends. You shouldn't even have to ask if it's okay. You're both grown adults. But he told you it was okay when he clearly wasn't okay with it, and now he's upset with you. That's a very emotionally immature, manipulate tactic. Am I the asshole for getting upset at my boyfriend for throwing me under the bus? My 27F boyfriend, 29M, told me that his colleague, my friend, and his wife were expecting their first baby. He's my friend, so naturally I'm excited. My boyfriend then told me not to say anything about it because his colleague wanted the opportunity to tell everyone personally. I thought that was fair and said I wouldn't say anything. My boyfriend and I run into my friend a few days later. He tells me that he's expecting his first kid. I note that he didn't tell me as if he had already expected my boyfriend to tell me. He told me as if this would be new information to me. Based on this observation and my BF's warning not to say anything, I assumed that my friend had told my boyfriend not to tell me so he could personally share the news with me. So I pretend not to know and congratulate him accordingly. We make a few more minutes of chit-chat and are about to change conversations when my boyfriend says, "I told her about the baby already." Awkward silence ensues. My friend then says, "Well, that's not surprising, considering that you guys are dating and everything. It makes sense that you would have told her." He then tries to change the conversation. I resist the urge to throw my boyfriend under the bus by reminding him that he told me not to say anything. When we're alone, I make it clear how annoyed I am. He told me not to say anything, and I held up my end of the bargain. He also could have just gone with the flow and not mentioned that he had already told me since the convo was over at that point. I asked him why he felt the urge to blow my cover, one that I maintained in part to prevent outing him for flapping his gums. He told me because I was lying and he felt it was wrong to mislead my friend by pretending not to know. I swear. He's a super Christian guy who can't keep his morality straight. He's okay with sex before marriage, provided I keep my mouth shut about it. But God forbid if I mislead someone by keeping my mouth shut. I'm trying hard not to lose it as I casually reminded him that I pretended not to know because he told me to. He told me that it's assumed that if you tell someone news like that you should assume that they will also tell their significant other. I told him that I agreed. Until my friend made it seem like he expected this to be news to me. Also, I remind my boyfriend that he actually rarely shares information like this with me, which has led to awkward scenarios in the past. For instance, there have been 2 occasions when friends assumed that my boyfriend would have told me about X and Y getting engaged, but he hadn't. At that point, my boyfriend tells me that he really doesn't understand why I'm upset, and he starts getting upset. And oddly, I believe him. I really think he doesn't see why I would be upset. And it frustrates me a lot, because I feel like I was thrown under the bus for doing as he asked. I personally think it should be obvious why I'd be upset, but maybe it's not. So I'm taking this stalemate to Reddit. Am I the asshole for being annoyed at my boyfriend for throwing me under the bus? Edit. Everyone seems to think that this conversation with my boyfriend happened in front of my friend. I said in my post that this convo happened when we were alone and at home. So I'm not stealing my friend's thunder and I'm over the moon for him. Not the asshole. I disagree with the people acting like you're overreacting. Your boyfriend wants to make you feel bad by telling you that you lied, when he was the one who initially lied. His friend said, "Don't tell anyone. I want to be the one to tell people." But then your boyfriend went against that and told you anyway. Plus he could have just kept his mouth shut when your friend broke the news. Not the asshole sounds like a red flag with your boyfriend, to be honest. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend is being manipulative and a hypocrite. As a former Christian, I can tell you this is only going to get worse. He understands perfectly why you're upset. But he's betting you're going to keep it slide, and he'll keep doing this. If he's okay with C before marriage, but he claims to be Christian, he's in it for the control over women, not for the faith. Get out now. Why is your boyfriend so fucking weird? Tie up your shoes tight and run. Run, run, run as fast as you can away from him. Do not stop for ice cream. Run as far away from this guy as fast as you can. Part of the mind fuck is to make you think he oblivious. He is not. I won't label him for you. But deep within you must know something is seriously wrong. You have just been allowing yourself to be confused and think it's maybe you because it's easier than accepting what he truly is. Not the asshole, your boyfriend definitely is one though. You should take a strong stand and not let it go because as you said it is not his first time to do so. And make sure that next time he tells you something like that you call your friend and congratulate them and tell them that your boyfriend told you, and you know they told him not to tell anyone. Not the asshole, and you definitely should have thrown him under the bus as well. Not the asshole. If he's genuinely confused about why you're upset, he likely needs professional help. If he was a teenager, I'd say he just needs to mature, but at his age, that's concerning. Am I the asshole for not wanting to go to an old friend's funeral? I, F26, graduated high school what seems like decades ago. I was not treated well at all, which resulting in me wanting to drop out completely. Luckily, with a lot of therapy and counseling I was able to pull through. But little did I know at the time of being a teenager, the person who claimed to be my best friend was really the reason behind all of my depression. She would make up rumors about me that I slept with our history teacher, but lied and said I told her I did. A few days after the rumor spread like wildfire throughout my tiny high school, the principal called me and said teacher into her office and interrogated us about our relationship. The teacher was then moved to a different school and I was suspended because the administration believed that I was the one who started the rumor. She also vandalized my car, several times, and would catfish me on social media. You may be thinking to yourself, why would you even stay friends with this girl? Mainly because our mothers were best friends since childhood and they basically forced us to be friends. After high school I had lost contact with her, deleted my social media and changed my phone number. I moved away from our home state, got married, had a baby and doing a lot better. After years of not even thinking about this girl, I get a phone call from my mom telling me that she had passed away due to health complications. I will admit I was shocked by the news but not as sad as my mother expected me to be. My mother then told me that she would be paying for a plane ticket to fly home for the funeral. I simply told her that it wouldn't be necessary since I am not going. My mother freaked and told me she is demanding I attend since my friend's mother will be extremely disappointed and upset that I would not be there. I just had a baby about 3 months ago. I live halfway across the country now, and expressed to my mother that I do not want to go to a funeral for someone who tortured me, and made my school life a living hell. My mother has non-stop been calling and harassing me, and she even got my brother and father to do the same. Am I the asshole for not wanting to go to this funeral? Update. Hello everyone. I have spoken to friends, mother and father, and expressed deepest condolences to their loss. I wished them the best from me and my family, and told them how I will not be attending the services due to the current situation we're in regards to the pandemic, and as I am still recovering from giving birth. Mind you, I gave birth not even 3 months ago, he will be 3 months on the 28th, and flying is not the best option for me right now. They told me they completely understand and thanked me for my condolences. I got a call from my mom and she begged me one more time to come with the baby, and I told her that it's not safe for me, or my baby or my husband. She then proceeded to tell me the pandemic is a hoax and that we're all infected with it and that some people have it worse than others. Phone call ended shortly after, thanks to my father who took the phone away, and I am currently feeding a cranky baby. Thanks everybody for the thoughtful comments. This definitely makes me feel better about this whole situation. Not the asshole. It's a pandemic. You have a newborn. This friend tortured you. Any one of those reasons would be absolutely fine for you to flip the proverbial middle finger on attending. But when you put all three together, it's a trifecta of, nope. Not gonna do it. Stand firm. By the way, does your family have any idea the hell this person put you through? I'd also like to say that my mother also wants me to bring my baby, just my baby, not my husband, because parents have been asking to meet my baby. This was also a major turnoff from the funeral, considering my little guy is only 3 months old and the rising COVID concerns around the country. Definitely not going. Not the asshole. Don't go. You have absolutely no obligations to anyone here. Stay home, enjoy being a new parent. Not the asshole. Sounds like it'll be tough, but you should hold your ground on this. Not the asshole. She was a bad friend and you haven't talked to her in like years. You also have a baby and live halfway across the world. I suggest just ignore your mother and other family members' calls and texts. I feel like your mother is blowing this out of proportion. Not the asshole. Your mother only knows that you two were friends. If you've never discussed the horrors this person did to you, she won't see it. If you did and she still is relentless, she sounds more loyal to her friend. With a 3-mo-old and the past that will catch up with you. Stay home. She won't get it, but hopefully she will eventually. Your mental health is more important than displeasing someone. Stand your ground. Reiterate your feelings to your brother and father. If they are still persistent, block all numbers till after the service. After that, deal with their BS. If it continues, put them in time out again. Your feelings are valid and they shouldn't toss them aside. Be strong and you'll be fine. Not the asshole. She tortured you, so mom is the asshole. Nope. I think you should send the mother flowers expressing your sympathy and let her know you cannot make it due to your new baby. Not the asshole. Also tell your mom to back off. Am I the asshole for making fun of Phil's terminal illness after he made fun of our infertility? DH and I have been TTC 2 years, no luck. As anyone who's been through this will know, it's incredibly heart-wrenching and stressful. DH made mistake of telling family that we were trying. Big mistake. The worst of it is his dad. After we first wed, almost any time I saw him he'd say, "So you pregnant yet?" Which was so embarrassing, creepy, and invasive. But I'm too shy to stand up for myself, so just sheepishly say no and try to get away. Then as time went on, it escalated when he decided it was taking too long for his liking. Once he even asked this during family dinner at a restaurant, in front of other in-laws. That time I couldn't get away, and the question was followed by a mocking, shaming and name-calling. Telling us there's something wrong with us and calling us Jaffas. That's a cruel name for those unable to have children. I felt humiliated and defeated. The process had already been difficult up to that point, but ever since then it's even worse. More recently, Phil had another one of these episodes, again in front of family at barbecue. Phil has had a terminal lung disease since before I came in picture. Not sure exactly how long he has, but knows it's getting gradually worse and will eventually take his life. He's in his 50s now, so it'll be a premature death. He likely won't reach 70. At barbecue, Phil brings up the topic of us trying, loudly and rudely, with everyone present and maybe the neighbors listening. DH was trying to shush him. Phil ignores and continues. At one point he turns directly to me, and says, "Your husband's balls don't work." To which I quipped back, "So, your lungs don't work. What's your point?" There was instant silence with a couple quiet gasps. And I heard, "Oh my God," under someone's breath. I'm a very timid girl who's known for barely speaking, so I think they were in shock that I said something at all, let alone so harsh and bold. Silence was broken by Phil, recovering from shock and being talked back at. "Well, she's certainly come out her shell, ain't she?" Something was said about dropping the topic, and everyone moved on. DH and I spoke about it after. He was weird about it, like he couldn't decide to be mad or not. He didn't like what I said, telling me it was good for me to stand up for myself, but I took it too far, and I should apologize, but I don't want to face Phil at all. He also told me apparently another family member was upset at me for the comment. I see I may've gone too far, but part of me doesn't care. I despise Phil, and if I hurt him, good, he shouldn't give out what he can't take. If he doesn't want his medical issue brought up, don't bring up others. What dawned on me afterwards though is that I'd not only said it to him but also in front of his family who love him. So, did I take it too far or did he have it coming? Am I the asshole? Too long did not read. Phil mocking DH and I for our struggling to conceive. I gave quip back about his terminal lung condition. Too far? Edit. DH has tried telling Phil not to talk about things like this in the past, but he just very stubborn and won't listen. Including this because several commenters have said something about DH not doing enough to deal with Phil. Your husband sucks majorly for not telling his dad to STFU and not defending you. Your Phil sucks for mocking what must be a seriously debilitating time for both you and your husband. You, on the other hand, are not the asshole for finally standing up for yourself. Phil fucked around and found out. Not the asshole. It was one comment and technically true. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I actually applaud you. Sometimes people learn the hard way. For example, don't touch the hot stove, you'll burn yourself. Guess what they do? touch it and burn themselves. Do not apologize because it will give him an excuse to be rude and much more of an ass. So what if his family love him? You have family and friends who love you, so does everyone on this planet, does it give them an excuse to be an ass? Nope. Tell him the day your husband's balls start working is the day his lungs start working. Another comeback is, why are you so interested in my husband's balls? This isn't Pornhub. Info. Is Phil mad? People like that either love or hate getting it back. His initial reaction seemed more amused than anything. Not the asshole. I've had multiple miscarriages and I snapped after being told that I kept having them due to the fact I would be a bad mom. I had just lost our twins after my husband almost died. The only asshole I see here are your Phil for making fun of the infertility and your husband for not shutting it down immediately after it started happening. Not the asshole. Savor the memory. The story will be told for generations. Not the asshole. Phil is a damn cruel bully. Snapping after being cruelly bullied isn't assholish.